so my hope was we could kind of start about like telling people who you are, a little bit about your career, and then really do a deep dive into the brand. Like one of the things that's cool about this show is we like to bring in brands that we love and learn about them and hear about them. And to your point earlier, it's a lot about the struggle. Everybody fucks up. And the idea of like, I'm not alone here is I think what makes it super interesting.
Yeah,
like,
great.
To your point.
Great.
So excited to sit down with you. When I saw the note that you were interested in being on the show, I was like, oh my God, I grew up listening to KROQ. I'm an LA guy. I mean, I was listening to 80s and 90s music is still absolutely my jam. So to sit down with a guy who's associated with a legend like that is super cool. I'd love to hear how you got started.
Yeah, well, long before I was decided to get in the beverage space, which just brought me here, I got in trouble a lot as a kid. I was in my room a ton, didn't have a TV.
Where'd you grow up?
Listened to a lot, DC.
Okay.
Listened to a lot
Could
of
be a
radio.
hard town.
Yeah, hard. Could be a very hard town. And I would listen to a ton of radio, spend a lot of time in my room. And I said, this seems like these guys always seem like they're having fun. They're not stuck in their room, but they're in a room. And I was like, one day, it's always dangerous when you decide what you want to do when you're like 10 years old, because sometimes you stick with it. And sometimes you go, oh man, I lived my childhood dream. That's amazing.
Now I'm a fireman.
And other times you go like, man, I should have dreamed like, gone into like, venture real estate or something, but regardless. And I just, people tell me now that I used to, and I lived on the East Coast, but I always knew about Loveline out in KROQ in LA. And I would sometimes be able to like pick up some of the shows. And I always told people, apparently, when I grow up, I'm going to get on a plane, go to LA, get on KROQ. And everyone's like, oh, good luck with that.
Because that DJ grind's tough. Like you got to work your way up from market to market, right?
It's a grind, dude. If you've seen Private Parts or
I was a huge Stern fan.
It is like, it is that almost undersells the grind that it is, because you're in. I mean, I went to Syracuse for college, but my first radio job was in Syracuse, New York. And that is like doing mornings in a place where it snows 9 feet in the night, and you wake up and have to like walk. Like, sounds like my dad telling a story, but literally like making your own path through snow just to get and turn the radio station on the air by 6 a.m. And then you're moving around from Pennsylvania, and you're taking jobs here. And I got fired. I got hired in San Diego. Got fired my first day before I even went on the air. Like all the stories that you've heard about, all the cliches.
Just treat talent like shit.
Yeah, like I had a job in San Francisco. Got hired. Found out my wife was pregnant. The day I found out she was pregnant, the boss called me to say I was fired from that radio station. So I was like, oh my God. Like that. And then every time that happens, I go, all right, I got to get out. I got to find a more stable job.
And is it the same thing though, like in the movie where it's like format change and now I'm trying to play country
all
and
of it,
holy shit, and I'm playing rap?
All of it. They go, hey, we're gonna do a brand change, and we're just getting rid of all the personalities. And you go, but our show is successful. They go, yeah, but the problem is people associate you with the old brand, and we're doing a new brand. You're out. So I've been fired for every possible reason. Some are my fault. A lot of them not my fault.
And that's just par for the course. So that's
par
just
for the course.
Industry.
But the goal was always, you look at any goal, right? And it's so funny because I think about that with the show you guys are doing now, but like, it's weird how some things don't work the way you think they'll work, but then you end up getting where you want it to go, where you should be. So like here I am now, KROQ in LA, and I was doing afternoons, and then they moved me to mornings. Like the day COVID started, like the day that no one was driving anywhere in the morning, they're like, you're doing mornings now for an empty freeway. And I was like, great, it's everything I ever wanted, but not that at all.
Well, it's tough too, because you came into a spot that was like, 30-year run was the show, either 4 years or right before that show, whatever. I mean, those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, dude. And it's funny because right around the same time, basically Kevin and Bean left and we moved in, it was right around the same time Tom Brady left New England. And I was like, God, it must suck to be the guy to follow Tom Brady. And I was like, if only I could imagine exactly what that feels like, to have people that are like, I guess we want to like you, but we kind of hate you because you're not who we loved for the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
So but you know what, look, I think that I'm a middle child. I'm used to kind of the constantly underdog and feeling like the, deck is stacked against you in every possible way. And then that in some ways I think makes it more fun, I guess. I mean, I'd love something to be easy, but as I've learned in launching this beverage and pretty much radio, anything I've done, right? It's not easy. And then sometimes that makes it worth it when it finally succeeds, right?
Dude, and the crazy thing, because I'm tripping out talking to you, is you're so casual about the fact that, I did Loveline, and I was like, bro, I was 14 laying in bed with headphones listening to Loveline, thinking about like, oh my God, what are they talking about?
Well, it's crazy because that show, I think about a few things that inspired me to really want to do radio. Stern was a big one. Loveline, listen to Loveline Corolla in those days.
See, I remember when it was the Poor Man.
Oh, so you got the original, the OG. Yeah, when I first got to host Loveline, I mean, I got a call from Dr. Drew, and this was before I was working at KROQ at all. I was on satellite radio. I was working for Playboy at the time, so I was living a pretty good life and like doing fun stuff. And pretty much it was like if someone said, draw up your fantasy job, I was like, I'm going to work at Playboy. I'm going to be on the radio. I'm going to be joking during the day, but only work a couple hours in the morning. And then I got a call, and Drew's like, this was after Adam left, another legend leaves. They go, hey, you want to do some Loveline with Dr. Drew? And it was crazy because that was a show that, there's only a few shows that I've ever been like real fans of that I always thought about, like, wow, that'd be so cool to even be on it, let alone to like host it.
Yeah.
And one of those was Loveline, and one of those was Shark Tank, and I got to go on Shark Tank with Pie Wine. So that was like, and then my third show is Poor Decisions, the podcast, and now I get to go on all my favorite shows, and that's.
What was Shark Tank like? So I think you're the fourth beverage I've met who's been on Shark Tank.
It's funny. I used to feel like it was such an exclusive group to get on there, and now it's like, oh, you're on Shark Tank. My brother was on Shark Tank. My sister's on Shark Tank. 6 of my friends were on Shark Tank. I knew a guy that actually was on Shark Tank season 3 early. And I always thought that was so cool. Like I always thought it was that was a show I used to watch. I still do, and think it's a good show. I never had a reason to go on there. And then when I had this concept for the world's first pizza wine, pie wine, I thought it was like kitschy enough that at least they'd be interested in it. And I lucked out because when I submitted to go on it, the person that was in charge of casting happened to be a listener of my radio show. So they're like, I don't even care what your product is. You're funny on the radio. It'd be great to at least have you go through the casting process. And that became, it's a lot of paper. I'm not a fan of paperwork. It's one of the worst parts of.
And was that in the day when they wanted to bite of the company just to put you on air?
No, they never. And it's funny. I always heard rumors about it. I never even knew if that was true or not.
In the early days, they did. I've talked to people that saw the deal.
Yeah, they did tell you. I mean, first of all, they tell you everything that goes on behind the scenes that's not on TV is technically not. You're not supposed to discuss.
Oh well,
but that all being said,
don't make a poor decision.
Yeah, they do tell you, and I think this is public knowledge. I think I've heard it before. That a good percentage of the deals that actually do get made in the tank don't actually happen for a variety of reasons.
Oh, yeah,
right?
There's got to be so much diligence and other things that get
people
done.
lie about stuff. They make up numbers in the moment. But my Shark Tank story was so interesting because they had us ready to go on Shark Tank, and we didn't even have a product yet. Like we had a concept, and we had these cans, which are actually filled with water because these were like our demo cans to show like what we had.
Yep.
But the product we were still making in big batches, and we didn't have any funding to like can it. So we really wanted. When we were going there, a lot of people don't go there for money. We actually were like, we need money, and they said they were going to put us on. I think it was season 14, maybe.
God,
and they start filming it, and then they realized that's when they made a decision that they were going to do a live Shark Tank. It was the only time they ever did it, but ABC likes to kick off their new season with like a live show. Take a show, and they did it with sitcoms.
A lot of drama and live
They do it live. And then they decided they bumped us out of our original Shark Tank air date because they go, we're going to bump you because they filmed the season before.
Yeah.
But then they go, live is going to be the first episode of the new season. We want you guys to be live because you do live radio every day. You're probably not going to crumble under the pressure.
Sure.
So we're going to keep you for the live show. So it pushed us back from shooting in June all the way to like September when they were going to kick it off. We were all excited to go on the first ever live Shark Tank. And and this was like in the thick of COVID, so they're still testing everyone, constantly doing tests multiple times a day. But they set up our set. They explained to us you have exactly 8 minutes because it's live, and then they ran out of time during the live episode because some of the negotiations went longer than they thought, and we didn't get to go on live. So we completely I'm telling everyone I'm gonna be on live Shark Tank. I'm gonna be on live Shark Tank. They tell you don't tell anyone, but I'm like I'm gonna be on live. And
talk about icing the kicker, man. So you're ready to go.
And the craziest part is there was another pizza product on the live episode. There was a guy that created like a triangular Tupperware to hold your pizza.
So it was almost the live pizza episode.
Yeah, so they were like, teasing, they're like, and coming up, something that will change pizza forever. And everyone's like, here we go. And then it was this other guy. They're like, dude, you weren't on Shark Tank. And then they said, listen, and it was cool. I'll give them credit, but the producer basically reached out to us directly and they go, look, feel bad we didn't get you guys for the live episode, but we think your story is great. We think your product is fun. We think it's great. And people had seen it because it was on set for weeks, while they were getting ready for the live. They're like, we want to have you guys on the season premiere of the next season, which is like a year away. So for us, in Beverage, it's like, oh my God, it's another year. We were looking at this as like our launch into the game. And I think some people don't look at Shark Tank like that. They look at it like, oh, that'll be a cool place to go once we're established, just to get the word out about our brand.
Yeah.
We were looking at it like, let's like use this as like our launch. Like we'll introduce to the masses. We knew the episode, once it airs, you get all these eyeballs on millions of eyeballs on you. But also we're like, once we get a shark, we'll basically have a blank checkbook that we can use to fund this entire operation. And like a lot of things you learn, these are miscalculations.
Yeah. It's interesting. So are you familiar with Poppy and their journey on Shark Tank?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been talking with the husband of the Poppy couple.
Okay, so I don't know him. I know Allison. I had dinner with her one time at an industry event. She just happened to be my seatmate, and she was kind of giving me the lowdown. And it's crazy. I mean, that might be the most successful product in Shark Tank history.
Yeah, and it's crazy because they were not, when they went in there, obviously different name of product, different product. I remember seeing that episode. I told the husband, this Steven, I said, when I saw that product, that was one of those ones where I go, ugh, it's a skipper. Like I was not even interested in watching the negotiations.
Like mother's drinking vinegar or something.
Right. I was like, not for me. I'm out. And it's funny because I was like an early.
You're like, that's not with pizza.
Right. That's terrible. Who wants that? But then I am a fan of Poppy, and what they did, obviously selling for close to over $2 billion. It's the thing that it's actually that story even helps me now when I talk to people as we're looking for investors, right? To go like, look, let's be honest. Here's where Poppy was when they went on Shark Tank. Here's where we are when we went on Shark Tank, and look what's happened to them. And not that you can compare apples to apples because they're in the health and wellness or your wellness soda, whatever you want to call it, and we're in an alcohol space, totally different. But also, you think about it, I look at them like they were the first mainstream product in a niche category. There was kind of a hybrid, well, everyone knows soda category. There's no shortage of sodas. And everyone kind of knows health and wellness, and they've kind of came up with this hybrid. And I look at like everyone knows wine, everyone knows pizza. We've kind of created this weird little niche hybrid. Yeah. But it's a big enough niche, as Poppy has proven, that I think that there's like an endless potential. We've already been knocked off a few times. So.
But what's interesting about that is it's kind of like everyone's best case scenario, right? Because her and her husband were great entrepreneurs, super coachable, ready to listen and learn. Rohan shows up and he's ready to kind of fund it, through the stretch. And they rebuilt the whole thing. I mean, it's absolutely a crazy story.
And the fact that they weren't so locked in, this is our brand, this is the name, this is our design, because I'm sure that his fingerprints were all over that redesign, and obviously it clearly worked. And I think look, I'm sure you guys know this better than I do, but I think the difference between like a home run idea that sells for billions of dollars and one that runs out of money and falls apart is very rarely based on the actual quality of the product.
No, it's interesting. So I think about this a lot because like I'm an aspiring guitar student. I've been trying to play guitar for 5 years.
Oh, that's why I'm here. You want to give me your demo?
Yeah, give me my tape.
Now
I've never played with another musician. So I asked my teacher, what's the difference between a student and a player? And she goes, well, other musicians is key. So I'm a long way from that. But my teacher is this like amazing player, and I can't believe she was never famous. And she's like, they're all amazing players.
Right.
And that's kind of what you said about the drinks, right? They all taste good.
Yeah.
But why do some make it and some don't? And that's kind of the journey that we've been on for, 20 years, trying to figure out how some make it and some don't.
Right. And sometimes I go, it's just luck. There's no rhyme or reason. But I do think if you look at all of the ones that have made it, there's usually a couple of pivotal things that happened at the right time also, because timing is, what do they say? Like luck is when timing meets preparedness. And it's very true. Like with us and like a lot of startups in beverage, every week feels like this could be our last week, and then the right thing happens, or the right check comes in, or the right store says, hey, we're really interested in bringing you in nationally, and you just have to be ready for those opportunities. Unfortunately, we've had moments where like we've had opportunities that we just weren't ready to deliver on. But also on the flip side, you think to yourself, had we done that opportunity, potentially this would have been game over for us. Like we would have gone all in too soon on this thing, and that would have depleted all of our resources. And like you guys said in a previous episode, I think it was when you were talking to the Lemon Perfect guy,
Yanni, shout out Yanni.
It's all about just surviving. You just got to keep on figuring out a way to just stay alive, because
for sure
that's so much of it.
Like you look at Celsius, you think, wow, these guys are an overnight success. They were a penny stock for a decade, so maybe even more before they were a huge hit. There's a
funny meme. I'm sure you've seen it, but it's got like their first design of their can, and it was like lost $20 million. Their second design lost $50 million. Third design, and then finally fourth design now net, positive, billions. It's crazy.
Yeah, you got to be willing to change and pivot. Like this little product of ours, we've done under 100,000 in revenue, and we've already changed the label once. I'm sure we'll change the label a few more times because you don't understand when it's right. The other great one is
that's pure vodka, kids. Huh? Look at that.
Jet fuel around here.
Goes down smooth.
You got to be familiar with Beatbox. They're really close to your category.
Yeah, really close. It's actually unfortunately part of the reason that Cuban really liked the Sharks all liked our product. They liked the taste, they liked the branding. Cuban specifically said there's a couple of reasons, and I don't know what was cut out of the episode and what was in, because when you're in the tank, I mean, it was in there for an hour and a half. So when it comes 8-minute episode,
Oh, they chop it up like that?
yeah, you never really know what. I have a hard time now because I actually haven't watched my episode of Shark Tank yet. It's weird.
It's cringy for you?
I'll watch all the other ones, but I watch all the episodes hoping they get deals. So knowing that I left there with no deal, and some of that was edited a little differently than the reality. But Cuban specifically, and he's been great, and I actually still email with Cuban. I made a great relationship with him on that show. Because of Beatbox and because of another wine company he's involved in through Shark Tank, there's a Texas law that has to do with how many alcohol brands you can be investors in or associate with, and he said he's maxed out. So he said basically, I love your brand and I wish I could be an official part of it, but I'd have to leave the state of Texas to do that. I'm not prepared to do that. However, and the guy's been a man of his word. He's like, this is my contact info. Reach out to me anytime with any question you have, and I will get back to you. And there is not one person in my phone that gets back to me quicker than Mark Cuban, including my own wife, which is wild.
Well, I only bring them up because they're like new friends of mine. And I was talking to one of the founders who's telling me about the journey. And he goes, dude, it was a 13-year overnight success. He's like, for years, we were just grinding ourselves against the pavement. And all of a sudden, we blew up. So a lot of times I tell folks, it's just about hanging in there and having staying power and waiting for enough consumers to discover they love your brand.
Yeah.
And then it blows up.
And that's, by the way, that's not different. Even like, I've been doing the radio show at KROQ now. I did afternoons for a few years, started doing the mornings during COVID. Just like in the last few months now, we're now at a point now where like our ratings are where, Kevin and Bean were when they were doing, like, it takes such a long, and for me, I go, oh, when is this going to turn around? Like, it feels like every day feels like another 10 years have gone by. And that is the reality with, I have friends that work in TV, and the reality is most shows never really get the chance. And people love talking about how Seinfeld in today's climate would have been canceled after season 1. It never would have even gotten the chance to become what it became, because people look and they go, oh, the test results are in. The first episode didn't do great. The second one was a little lower than that. Cancel the show. And with a product, I mean, it's so true. Every time we decide to do another run or to go into spend money doing anything, we understand that if we cannot bring in more money, because right now, as with all startups, every time we sell a can, people go, oh, that's great, you sold a can. Well, we're losing money still because we're making small batches. Mm-hmm. In scale down the line, we plan on being incredibly profitable, and it's great that the pizza industry has embraced us in such a big way, and that even the off premise has been like really excited about putting us in, because a lot of them have pizza programs, but it is. It feels like a grind. And the more I learn about the distributors and how with alcohol, every state has got different rules, and how you can be totally fine in this state, but then not accepted in this state, and you have to play.
So before we started, I told you I'd never been in the alcohol business because it's so hard, dude. The regulatory environment is so hard. We played with a brewery that I think is going to be really successful. But to your point, I had to get fingerprinted to get an alcohol license in like 30 states. And you're like, man, this country is actually 50 small countries holding hands when it comes to alcohol.
It's wild. And it was the craziest thing is I go to Vegas for the big pizza expo every year, which is I've been to Vegas like everyone else. I've been to Vegas a million times with friends. And
especially SoCal guy.
It's, Vegas is like, you can have a lot of great Vegas trips.
Yeah.
The pizza expo, even if you're not in the industry at all, is like, and maybe it's just because now I'm, in my 40s now, but I think it's more fun than it was when I was going to clubs, getting bottles and doing all the wild Vegas stuff, because you are literally at a place where the best pizza chefs from the entire world.
Well, it's great too if you got a can in your hand all day.
Oh, even better. Maybe that's why it's so great. But we go there, and the reality is that I meet these people from. I have a pizza shop in Wisconsin. Are you guys able to distribute there? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I read the rules. I'm like, no, we can't, because we don't have the night. To get distro in certain states, the rules seem so primitive still. It's really kind of crazy, and learning state by state. And luckily, we've gotten some good partners along the way that help us navigate those waters. But it feels almost mafia run.
Well, what happened is, so after Prohibition, the individual distributors, they had almost 100 years to work the state house. And these distributors, like if you own a distributor and you got half the state of Texas, you're a baller. You got no problems talking to legislature and getting rules kind of stacked your way. So in these 100 years, distributors have created walls around their businesses to protect them from e-commerce and all these other things. And then on the alcohol side, all these rules after prohibition that were supposed to control the alcohol business have been used to just protect the alcohol business because it's designed to keep new people out.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny. I talked to, on our episode of Shark Tank, we talked about where we were evaluating ourselves, where our valuation was compared to Bev. And Bev was this canned wine brand started by a female founder, had a nice exit, and we mentioned them in our comparables. I think they had that's a great question. I don't know. Leaks, who started Bev, she saw us on the episode talk about her, and she reached out to me and said, "Hey, I just want to say thanks for mentioning us. I'm around. I've been on this rodeo. Let me reach out anytime if you need anything." And she's the one who kind of tipped me off to the whole, you will have a lot of people that will try to bully the brand. Understand that going in, and specifically about what you're saying, that it is, once you are a new person trying to get into a game that has been, generationally run, watch out, because they will try to either chew you up, spit you out, or keep you out altogether. And
so you're a guy that's like understands the grind. You've climbed to the top of a slippery ass pole, right?
Grind.
So now you're successful and you decide you want to get into the wine business. Like, tell me how you decided to do this, because usually it starts with wine.
Yeah, I never wanted to get in the wine business. I'm not even a wine fan. I wouldn't describe myself as even a wine fan. I'm a pizza enthusiast. Love pizza. Always been a fan of pizza. It's always been my favorite food, and it's been fun to watch pizza evolve over the past few years to now it's, for content and everything that's happened, with Portnoy and everything that happens with Pizza Fest. And I'm the MC of LA City Pizza Fest, which is the best pizza places in LA. So I've always been a pizza guy.
You're deep in the pizza game.
Love pizza. And I like the fact that it's the everyman food, and it's a great way to, you have a bunch of friends over. It's an easy solution. Usually people are in a good mood when pizza's involved. So during COVID, there was a lot of people that were, getting in backyards, families hanging out, and there was always someone bringing pizza. And I was always not a fan of wine, but whenever pizza was served, I liked the Lambrusco, which was like a wine that I would argue is not a well-known wine just to the general public.
Sort of a red table wine?
It's got an it's got a bubble to it because it has to be made in Italy to be officially a Lambrusco, and it's got a sweetness to it. And I drank it the first time, I think in Italy, with pizza, and it all just made sense in my head, because I was like, I usually like Coke with pizza. Like that's, most people. And I was like, but I want to get a buzz on. I'm an adult now. So I had this, what to me was kind of like a wine soda, is how I always thought of it. And whenever I would serve it to people here, they would all have the same reaction. They'd be like, what is this? It's great. And I got a Lambrusco. They, what? I go, it's like a red wine. It goes with pizza.
It's almost like a spritzer.
And then I thought to myself, why is like Lambrusco doesn't mean much, but like if we could brand that pizza wine or make it clear that this is the official drink of pizza, and partner up with enough pizza places, maybe this becomes a thing, because I think a lot of pizza places still have like those little bottles of like Sutter Home that like your grandma used to drink. And there's nothing cool about it, and they always are covered in dust because they just sit there. And I was like, maybe this could be a cool way to...
Because pizza used to be a pitcher of beer.
Yeah, but I also never loved beer. I always thought beer and pizza, and I was talking about this on Shark Tank, and they agreed with me, but I always think that pizza's it's like starchy. It's got a heaviness to it. Beer's similar in that way. Like the
red makes sense.
I never really thought those two worked. The sweetness playing off the tongue, the bubbliness that played off it. So my original plan was, I'm just going to find a place that makes Lambrusco and basically slap a sticker on their bottles.
What's tripping me out is I'm 51 years old. I grew up in an Italian household. I never heard of Lambrusco.
Yeah, it's weird because it's just, that's how in the world of wine, it's like maybe the least popular segment of wine, which maybe was a bad place to start, talk about poor decisions. But I thought if branded properly, like I think of like coconut water, that was a thing forever until it was branded properly, and now it became $1 billion business. So I originally was just going to bring in Lambrusco, slap a sticker on it, and then when I was talking to my buddy and a beverage developer, they said, look, we could just do that. We could import Lambrusco, or we could recreate what we believe are the flavor. Why you like Lambrusco? It's got a sweetness to it. It's got bubbles. What if we use California grapes, more consistent grape, more consistent harvest? We can use stuff from Central California. We can add the carbonation, control the bubbles. We have complete control, as opposed to Lambrusco, where it kind of depends a little bit on the year. It could be more bubbly, less bubbly. And we could basically recreate what you like and come up with a name. And I literally, the first thing I typed into, I went to the internet, I just typed in piewine.com, and it said, this domain is available.
Dude, sometimes that's the hardest part.
And
That's why you get so many products with crazy spellings and weird shit.
I know, underscores and this. So I was like, how is piewine.com available? Because pie, I always tell people like pie for pizza, it's get a pie.
Yeah.
And so this was the original can, Pie Wine, and it says Pie Wine on the can. And we were all excited, and we were moving forward, and everything was going great. And then we found out that we could not get this approved by the TTB, which is the government control board.
What was their issue with it?
You cannot have the word pie before the word wine, because you cannot have any ingredient listed before wine that is not actually found in the beverage, because that is, quote, misleading.
Oh, weird. So they thought pie was an ingredient.
They thought it could be misleading as an ingredient. Now, that was our first big blow, where we had we had done all this branding, and we had done all of this. And there's another issue also as well, because we put the word sparkling on the can. Mm-hmm. And even though we add carbonation, there is a rule with alcohol, another one of those weird rules, that if you are technically going to be a sparkling beverage, your tax rate goes way up. Price per can jumps, 30%.
Wow.
Because the carbonated drinks are taxed differently. You have an amount you're allowed to carbonate where you can go below that tax threshold. Lucky for us, when we did all the flavors, the one that we liked was just beneath the threshold for how much carbonation you can add. So they rejected the can. All of our branding, everything we had, that said Pie Wine. Pizzas, the OG pizza wine. We basically had to do a new brand, and that's where we came up with Pie. And then it says up here on top, grape wine, but it couldn't be under. So we just go with Pie, and it's pizza's new side piece.
It's dope, dude. I think it's cool.
Yeah. So we you're holding one of those cans we just got from our latest batch. That's the first time we did print on can direct, which was kind of the next evolution. Yeah. This one's got the label. You can feel the label wrapped around it. Yeah. And then this one was kind of the original one. That was like the demo one. But yeah, it's like even just. We had an issue, like you'll see this one. This has a label overlay, right? Because what happened was, one of our products is a semi-sweet, which is kind of a crisp, classic crisp, and one of them is a full sweet, which is our sweet white. And at one of our early runs, they confused the two. So I received them, and I said, the half sweet tastes full sweet, and so we had to do an overlay on the labels, which is like, you'll learn, man. There's a lot of mistakes you can try to avoid, and I think we've been smart about it. And obviously, I've got friends and family that have invested money, so I feel so obligated to make sure this is a win for them. Like, that's the thing that drives me more than even my own selfishness.
Being a fiduciary is tough. Like, it's one thing to gamble with your own life, but now you're gambling with other people's.
And it's not like look, I didn't tell anyone, give me everything you've saved, but even like my buddies from college are like, hey, I'll write you a check for $5,000. And I want to. I'm already visioning. I want to hand them a check back for $50,000, $100,000 in a few years, and be like, "Thanks for believing in this. Go have a great trip. Go buy yourself a car." Like, that's what I would love to do. And the idea that I know myself, like, whenever there have been times, and there have been no shortage of times, where I'm like, "Man, maybe this is a sign that this is not meant to be for whatever reason."
How long have you been at it?
So the original idea we had, like, toward the tail end of COVID, I told it to my buddy who I've known forever. I pitched him every dumb idea I've had my whole life, and usually he tells me within a second, that's a dumb idea, like gambling websites. And I called him with this, and I said, hey, you had Lambrusco, tried it with me. I go, why has it never been branded pizza? And he goes, dude, he's like, if you can come up with a concept, name, creative, I raise money. That's what he does for a living. I can find us some money to get started, to kind of get this off the ground. And then let's just see what the market says. And that's kind of exactly what happened. And he put up his money. Actually, he didn't even reach out to friends. He put up a couple $100,000 out of the gate just to get us going. Since then, we've brought in, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000, $750,000.
It's actually real light capital-wise.
Very light. And part of that is because we've been doing a lot of the stuff ourselves. I've been pretty much handling most of the marketing, everything through relationships I've made over the years. We have a guy that has been in the beverage industry that's helping us do a lot of the stuff that normally would cost brands, $10,000, 10,000 burn a month. And we're not trying to go too, I think the biggest pitfall I've seen with brands that I thought started strong but then fizzled out was that they decided let's just pour money until we explode. Let's pour money and explode.
What's a get rich or die trying strategy?
Yeah, that's a dangerous place to go. So we are trying to be slow and steady, which is hard for me. I'm an impulsive guy. I'm an impatient guy. And, but like, slowly each run we do is a little bit bigger and we have more interest. And a lot of the pizza places that we started talking to 2 years ago finally now have their beer wine. A lot of these pizza places, I was shocked. They couldn't get a beer wine license. Oh, wow. So they said, we'd love to carry it, but we don't even sell wine. And now they're hitting me up going, hey, we just got approved last week. Hey, next week we're getting beer wine. And so they're like, we want you to be the official wine. And these are some of like the big places, the Prince Street Pizzas and the Ozzy's Pizzas.
Talking about COVID, like I remember when they said they could deliver cocktails to your house during COVID, right?
Yeah, that was the other thought we had for this was, how cool would it be if pizza places that can't do wine because of COVID and how some of the rules changed with delivery, third party like Postmates or DoorDash or Uber Eats, anyone orders a pizza from any place, which is still the most delivered ordered food, they get a pop-up that says, would you like to add some pie wine to your order? It's the official wine of pizza. How many of those people go like, great, and they don't even realize that that's being fulfilled third party, and we're just moving cans and giving people turning pizza into pizza party, like we say,
What's funny, I got teenagers at home, so we're good for a couple pizzas a week. Someone's got friends over, whatever. It's just so turnkey.
And I've got young kids, but like every birthday party I go to, and I go to a lot of kids' birthday parties now, there's never not pizza. So and
there's generally wine.
And it's
a lot of dads
and
standing
it's adults standing around,
here.
and it's like sometimes you don't want a White Claw. And I bring this with me now, and I won't even. A lot of people don't even know it's my thing. I just put it there, and I watch people. They go up. The cans they're eye catching, so people pick it up, and they're like, "Is this pizza flavored wine?" And then they read about it, and they go, "Oh, wine designed to go with pizza." They pour. I watch them, and that's the coolest part is watching people. I can give it to a friend, and they'll drink and go, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah.
But
when you see someone pick up a product you made, or better, you walk into a store and you see it on the shelf, I can only imagine it's like hearing your song on the radio.
Yeah,
it's got to be great. I bumped into it in the wild.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you talk about that. I hear that story. I love asking every major band, Coldplay or Imagine Dragons or any major U2, and they all vividly remember maybe their biggest memory from their entire career is like the first time I was in my car in LA and just randomly heard my song on KROQ, and that's when it felt real. Like that's the moment it felt real, and that's the moment where they go, "Oh shit, we're gonna make it. We're gonna actually be successful," because that feels like that's the seal of approval. And we did a couple of like market tests where we would put this with no promotion into a few pizza places around LA. And the guys would hit me up and go, hey, just so you know, we just sold our first can. Person was confused, asked 2 questions, bought it, but then they came back the next night, bought 2 more cans, and then we've sold through, we gave them a couple cases. We sold through all the cases. When can we officially put it on the books? And that's when you start going like, oh man, this is great. I'm excited.
Yeah, for me, so Deanie and I've been in the beverage business my whole life, so it's always fun to me to see someone who's like had success in another industry jump into this one, because this is all I've ever known. I had my first job at Coca-Cola filling shelves when I was still in college, and I've been doing it this long, like 30 years now.
Still doing shelves? You would have thought you would have evolved since then.
Well, if I walk into a store and I see my product, I'll fill the shelf. You will too.
Yeah, I know. I already saw where it was placed in one of the pizza places. It was like a low rack below, and I was like, let's move that up to the eye level.
2014, we started our own product. I walked into a little corner store and I saw it on the shelf, and I almost died because I was like, oh my God, I didn't put it here. Somebody else did that. Like, I didn't sell it in myself.
Yeah.
We had a local distributor, and I'm like, that fucking distributor had a sales rep come in here and put it on the shelf, and there it is. Like, that's like the hair on my arm.
I know.
Standing up.
And you've had a lot of big moments since then. You've sold brands, I'm sure, but like that will always be the chase. I think about myself now. Like I gamble way more than I should, but when I won my first hand of blackjack on a cruise ship when I was 14 with a fake ID and I won $25, like that's the rush I'm still chasing, and I've had wins of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, it doesn't feel as good as that $25 I won when I was 14,
Well, that's like you see guys like Dana White, gambling millions of dollars on a hand, and it's like, man, that's where you are. That's to get the juice. You got to have that much on the table.
That's the part that's crazy. I always go like, that's got to be crazy.
I have too much respect for money, dude. All my gambling is in the beverage business.
Well, look, and this is I've learned that this has become my gamble now too, right? Because the wins feel great, the losses feel absolutely crippling. And then every day, I wake up with today's the day we could find out that, Whole Foods is going to put us in all their locations, or today's the day we're going to figure out if we get picked up by this pizza chain, and Chuck E. Cheese or Shakey's wants to put us nationwide. And you go, these are little things, but also enough of these little things together. And, we just want to be associated with pizza. We want people to, the best compliment we get, I think, is people that go, I don't even like wine, but I like pie wine, because like my wife's, not that her judgment is objective by any stretch of the imagination, but she's like not a drinker. She doesn't really drink, but she'll ask for, even hearing her say like, I want a pie wine, I'm like, there we go. She approves,
Yeah, some things are weird. Like we have an investment in a cannabis product, and my wife doesn't go anywhere near cannabis, not even interested in it. But if there's one around with a little ice, she's like, I don't know, it's Saturday, I'll have half a can.
Right.
It's like funny how some people will gravitate to a product.
Yeah. So
what's distribution like right now?
So we have currently through American Spirits. Are you familiar with them at all?
I think of them as cigarettes. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
it's
fine. It's not cigarettes,
Okay.
but they're based in Southern California,
Okay.
and we have ability to do distribution through them to New York and California.
Okay.
We had a plan in place if we had made a deal with Sharks for an 8-state distribution through Eagle Rock and some of their distributors and their brands, and these are all. I'm the lucky thing for me is that I focus mostly on the creative, the social, the content, and the pizza places, the on-premise. And then I've got my partner who understands the business a lot better, who's kind of dealing with the distributors. We've gotten, as I learned, and this is my advice for anyone who is starting or contemplating starting, once you're publicly out there, the amount of people that, quote, can help you and help your business, it's shocking how many people have reached out, but also how many of those people aren't really. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and I think there's a lot of businesses that take advantage of those people that will try to say, "Oh, we can handle your this, we can handle your that, we can handle," and you talk to some businesses, you go, "What's your monthly burn?" And they're a startup, you're not even in stores yet. They're like, "Oh, we're burning $45,000 a month." I go, "How much runway do you even have for that burn?"
Yeah.
So I'm trying to learn more of it right now, but we just. Got our first commercial, which we're holding now, like these new.
Let me try one. Which one's your favorite?
These new cans. I like the traditional red. If you like a sweeter, do you have a sweeter?
But I'm not a drinker, but I do want to try it. We've been talking about it for an hour. I got to try it.
So this is the. If you open that up, that's the traditional red, and you'll notice there's like a carbonation to it.
It smells good.
Yeah, I mean it's supposed to play off a pizza though.
I could see where that would be great with pizza.
Yeah.
But I do like that it's lightly carbonated. It's way more like drinkable than I would remember sort of a glass of red wine.
Yeah, that's
but it's
the
got all
idea.
those notes.
And the danger, especially with this one, which I don't want to get you drunk right now, but the danger with
I'll try
the
it.
danger with the sweet white.
So I move it away.
This is the sweet white, and that one.
In my head, I have visions of Will Ferrell. Like once it touches your lips, it's
The,
so good.
the sweet white one we were actually trying to figure out that formula, and we stumbled on this one, which it did really well. Like, we liked it, and we brought it to the Pizza Expo.
My first thought is, hello, old friend. Like, that's a great smell.
Right, and it does. It's got like but it drinks so easy, like the sweet white that.
It's like a sparkling wine.
It's like a sparkling wine, like a summer backyard wine. But the problem with this, I shouldn't say there's a problem with anything. People are used to now drinking a can of, let's call White Claw, right? Where they know it's 5% alcohol in a can like this. So they know in their head,
almost 11.
In their head, they go, all right, I know me. I'm a 3-can, 4-can person. 1 can is 2 glasses of wine. So 2 cans is 1 bottle of wine. The amount of how easy it is to put down 2 cans because we're just so used to. Next thing you know, you have by yourself finished a bottle of wine, which for a lot of people is.
That used to be Sunday night at my house.
That's aggressive, right? For you, that's not.
Yeah,
so,
that was too much.
So the thing that we are, the nice thing about this, and we even actually added this to the new can. You'll see, but we have this little cheat code: 1 can equals 2 glasses, because people were like, "Man, I am getting real,
But at least that's a good comparable, because what I'm finding with like cannabis drinks is people don't understand that some have 5 milligrams,
Right.
some have 100 milligrams.
Dude, I had a cannabis drink where they're little tiny cans, and I drank 3 of them and felt nothing at all.
Yeah.
And then I went to another place that had the same little size can, And I said, I know that I can drink 3 of these. I had drank one of them, and I was like seeing things. And then I looked, and of course, very small. You realize, like, oh wait, this is 50 milligrams.
We had Snoop Dogg's crew come in here with some cannabis drinks like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, I'll take the samples home. And I try one, and I'm like, oh my God, I could taste the pot in this one. And you look at it, it's like, oh, that's heavy duty. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to see monsters. I'm trying to unwind.
I'm not surprised Snoop's formula is a little stronger than the others.
Yeah, he's not playing around. He's
Yeah.
not playing around. How'd you land on cans? I love cans. We try and put everything we can in a ball can, but I'm seeing a lot of this stuff in Tetra.
Yeah, we originally it's so funny too because on my sales sheet, which I want to show you, we actually have a plan for when we decide to go with a larger size. We're keeping it with a can, so we're going to go with a larger growler style can.
That's like that big monster can with the screw-on cap.
Yeah, we wanted to, but also keeps the carbonation in. But the plan was we wanted to make it like very approachable.
I don't think you could do carbonation in Tetra. Maybe is part of it too.
Yeah, well, if you do the reverse, as I'm learning now, right? The the heat, it's all part of the process of how we add the carbonation.
Oh, it's kind of pasteurization step.
All that's exactly. So we start doing that, and then you start realizing what you can and cannot do, and even like that, I had to learn that if you want to be in Whole Foods, you have to carbonate in a certain way because you can't use methane. Now, a lot of companies use, or the brands will use methane to carbonate.
Well, in wine too, you'll see a lot of like Velcorin and stuff like that.
Right. So there's and then that will instantly mean that certain places won't carry you just because of that. Just so even like you think to yourself, how do we do this the quickest and the cheapest, which is a lot, and then you go, or let's just figure out what big picture places we want. Where do we want to be in 5 years? Now let's do all the things now to make sure that we've set ourselves up to be there in 5 years. So, the cans was just, I thought like in my head, I pictured someone showing up with a pizza and being like,
it's way better than glass.
I got the pizza and I got this is what I pictured, like an easy. And I also thought it was cool that if you go out on a date or whatever, at a restaurant, they have pie wine, they bring 2 glasses, they bring a can, you split it, you each have a glass of wine. And for us, like, margin wise, we're able to keep the cost, low to where a restaurant can charge, they could charge $6. They're still doubling what they paid for. They could charge $12 for 2 glasses of wine, which is still pretty good.
But it looks like it'd be great at like venues and stuff too.
Yeah. Well, one of our earliest partners is in the world of pizza. He's the GOAT, Pizza GOAT. His name's Tony Gemiani. So you've seen a lot of slice houses opening up around Southern California, but this guy's original place in San Francisco. He's also the guy that has pizza places in all of the stadiums there. So where the Warriors play, where the Raiders play, it's his pizza place, and he's expanding rapidly. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Tony and slice houses in these stadiums. And the goal is that we were like, this is what stadium doesn't have pizza, serve this as well. Now, what I learned after the fact is the restaurants don't get to pick which alcohol they serve. That's through the stadium. So everyone's, there's always a different division, right?
So I wouldn't put you on the spot and ask you the best pizza place because you ask 20 guys the best pizza place, you get 20 answers. But in LA, what's your favorite pizza spot?
Man. There's a couple right now.
Give me 3 then. Whatever you like.
All right. Well, style-wise, so there's a place in Agora Hills called Tudo's, and they actually do 2 different styles. So they do the bigger kind of Roman style, like a thicker kind of slice, and then they also do a pretty good, New York. There's a guy. There's a place that for just a cheese. And whenever I go to a new pizza place, I like to just try a classic cheese slice just to get a gauge of like what it's like. There's a place
Started
called,
at baseline.
Yeah, I got to figure out what we're dealing with here. There's a place called Secret Pizza that does like a really strong, just classic New York cheese pizza. And then everyone loves. Apollinia's, which is on Wilshire, right by way too close to where I work. Here's what I say about pizza places: if they have weird hours, if they're randomly closed on like a Wednesday, they're probably gonna have great pizza. If they're a cash only joint, they definitely have great pizza. Like these places, you can do certain things you can tell that will be like it's a great pizza place. D-Town, which is, I don't want to just mention places that have agreed to carry pie wine because that will seem like I'm being self-serving. But D-Town is Detroit style pizza. They're in West. They have a few locations now, but they actually have won the award for the past 4 years in Vegas for best square pizza. So they're doing fancy ones like bone marrow pizza in Vegas to win the award, but just their classic Detroit style burned cheese on the side pepperoni is so great. And that was one of the earliest guys that came by, tried it, just got it. Like people are just like, I get it, the flavor's pizza's greasy, it's heavy, it's salty. This is sweet, it's light. It's
with the tannins too.
It's the whole idea that they. So I like this because it, the same reason the guys put peanuts out to sell more booze early in the year. That was the trick at bars. It's like this actually helps you eat more pizza because it's kind of you're digesting as you enjoy. So.
What's super rad, dude. I appreciate you coming in. It's so fun to learn about this product. What was cool too for me, and I always like tell folks, is half the guys around the office were familiar with it. So kudos to you for that.
That's crazy, man. And a lot of that, I give myself credit because what I will do, and this is like, I shouldn't give away my secret too much, but we haven't really had an advertising budget to this point because every dollar we have, we're spending on making more product and figuring out just trying to get a core team together. But what I realized is just what I'm doing in my own personal life. I'm eating pizza at least once a week like you are. I get them from different places. Whenever I get a pizza, I get a picture of the pizza box and the pie wine next to it, and I tag the place on Instagram, and they're thrilled because someone's giving them love for their pizza. So whether it's a Prince Street Pizza or a John and Vinny's or insert any of a number of pizza places here, they're more often than not going to repost the picture, and that is somehow them now giving pie wine a little bit of credibility as well. And so people have subconsciously now done what I was hoping they would do, which was tie together pizza, which already has an emotional tie. This is one of the things Cuban said on Shark Tank. You've done a great job because you've taken a product that no one knows. It's a brand new beverage, but you've figured out the emotional attachment to the consumer, which is pizza, because everyone has an emotional attachment to pizza. It's usually a positive one. And
it's comfort food.
Yeah, right. So as a result, you've now eliminated or created one of the hardest things to do, which is how can I create an emotional attachment from an unknown product to a potential buyer of the product.
Well, congratulations, dude. I love it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me here. I love this podcast. Keep it going. It's great. It is inspirational when I hear other people that have had the same, fuck ups, if you want to call it that, along the way as I have. It's nice to know that, oh man, that happens to everyone. And the only way you get to that sweet big check when they decide we're going to buy you out is by making these the dips along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Pleasure, dude. Thank you.
Thanks,
for having
man.
me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.